Well, let's stay with the theatrical theme because Nneka Atuona's debut play, Liberian Girl, is a poignant study of innocence lost amid the terror of war. Set during the first Liberian Civil War, which raged from 1989 to 1996, the play depicts a time when children were routinely compelled to become soldiers. Its main character, 14-year-old Martha, is obliged to pretend to be a boy in order to avoid being violated by them. Diana's play, described as an assured and innovative debut, has won the Alfred Fagon Award, and it's just opened at London's prestigious Royal Court Theatre, and she now joins me in the studio. Very good morning to you. A tremendous success and a real burden to carry, I would imagine, for a first-time playwright.
No, it's been amazing. It's been incredible.
Yeah, and it's a really challenging subject to look at as well, and not one which you would think would immediately make for theatrical material, given the sensitivity. So what drew you to it?
Well, it was actually because of a screenplay my brother and I were working on, and it was set during the Civil War in Liberia. So my brother actually brought Liberia to me, and it was the whole thing about child soldiers and Civil War and the exploitation of women that just really appealed to me. And then the idea came about later on.
And that's the point, because even though it is looking at a girl who is working as a child soldier, it's the fact that she's had to protect herself by disguising her identity, so tapping into that much bigger issue that you've talked about the abuse of women, the abuse of children, lives being completely fractured.
Exactly.
And when you started doing this, I mean, it must have involved a lot of research as well in terms of reading. Did you get the chance to talk to anybody who'd actually gone through that?
Yes, yeah, I was fortunate enough to talk to two people who'd gone through the war. One was very supportive throughout the whole process, actually. So it was those kind of things that you just couldn't find on the internet or in any kind of academic...
You can't actually find the accounts on the internet?
Oh, you can, but it's just the kind of detail that you really look for that can only really come from first-hand accounts. Those kind of things is what I was really looking for. But yes, of course, you can get the basic information.
Sure, but it is just basic, it's the framework.
Yeah, but it's the detail that really appealed to me, the stories within the stories.
Yeah, because we talk about child soldiers, certainly from the news perspective. But do you feel that perhaps there's a fear amongst some writers of actually going into that detail because it is an extremely uncomfortable subject and very, very disturbing? Well,
yeah, I mean, for sure, the play's not for everyone, and it's really uncomfortable subject matter. But the fact is, this is what's happening, and I think when you put it in people's faces, it makes for impactful theatre.
Yeah, but how do you put it in people's faces? Because, OK, you've got an actor and the props are on the stage, but as I understand, it goes a lot further than that. The audience does get involved in a way. How does that happen?
Well, our amazing director, Matthew Dunster, came up with the idea of making it an immersive experience. I think the whole idea behind that was that the audience would kind of be witnesses to it. So, yeah, it was purposely done to make people really feel.
But how does he make it immersive? Because clearly it's more than just sitting back and watching. How is that?
Oh, well, the soldiers do, you know, tell people to kind of move around stage, and there's a lot of kind of shouting at the audience and stuff like that, just to kind of give them a sense of what it would feel like to be, say, at a checkpoint, for example.
And they're carrying obviously artificial guns, etc. But again, replicating the behaviour of these people, people who in ordinary life would probably be quite inconsequential, but a gun makes them feel important and makes them feel very special.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about, the power that these children are able to have, and just how, obviously they're going to get drunk on it, and if you include drugs and all those kind of things, brainwashing, you add all of that into the mix. It just makes for carnage.
What's the feedback you've been getting, particularly from the cast members? Because this was challenged them artistically as well, taking them into new, dark territory.
Yeah, well, I mean, the actors were fantastic. Juma, especially, who had to play Martha, really had to commit to the role. I mean, she shaved her head. And
she actually shaved her head?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and did all kinds of things that I'm sure she never imagined when she was at drama school. But, yeah, she really committed. All of them really brought their A game, so... Yeah, they were behind it, 100%.
I mean, you could say that it's a political play because of what it looks at and the themes that it explores. But, I mean, do you think that's a fair judgment, or do you try to actually rise above any classifications as a writer?
I think in part that's true, but essentially it's a play about survival and friendship, so... the war is just really just a backdrop, if that makes sense.
But it's interesting, though, that you can actually have friendship against this very violent backdrop, because the two don't really seem compatible. I mean, how secure are these friendships?
Well, I think that that's kind of what I find really interesting when I write about war, because it can create the most unlikely situations. People are kind of forced together, and so actually these, yeah, it's born out of a need to survive, but actually because of that, people can become close in a way that they never thought possible.
Sure. I mean, you do have this run at the Royal Court Theatre. How long does the run last for?
Well, it finishes on the 31st of January, then...
Not long to go.
No, but then it does go on to the Bussey Building in Peckham for a week, from the 3rd of February to the 7th, and then on to the Bernie Grant Centre in Tottenham from the 10th to the 14th.
That's in North London.
Yeah, so it's gonna hopefully...
Sure.
Yeah.
And are you working on another play, or are you simply saying, OK, let's back off for the moment, let's just get through this one and then just take a break from it?
No, it's non-stop. This is what I really wanted to do, so it's like I'm so excited.
So you're actually working on another play at the moment?
Yeah, I have a few ideas. That, I have a few ideas.
But how long does it take for the idea to actually go from the page to the stage? Because this new play, it didn't just happen overnight. This was years in gestation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it happens at different stages. I mean, it was my first ever play to write, so I think for that reason it was going to be that bit more difficult. Hopefully, a lot of the issues that I experienced with the first play won't really be a problem for the second play, I'm hoping.
Could you ever see yourself not just writing your plays, but perhaps also directing them as well? That's a rotten question, isn't it?
I'd love to direct. I'm not sure that I would be best to direct my own work, but I'd love to get into directing.
Well, some writers have the confidence to say, you know what, I know who I want this to be, and only I can realise the vision.
I think that's what I thought initially, that I got to work with people like Matthew, and it was like, actually, sometimes it's good for somebody to come with fresh eyes and just give a different life to the play that you never thought was possible.
And do you think that perhaps some of those touches which he added, you might not have thought about them yourself?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're right, yeah. He really did help me look at the play in a completely different way. So.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, Diana, I can certainly say that you've got a fantastic future ahead of you as a playwright, and we'll look out for more of your work in the future. You will come back, won't you?
Absolutely.
Excellent, brilliant. Thank you so much, Diana Nneka.